Hurricane Helene made landfall Thursday, September 26th, 2024. It quickly turned into a historic hurricane for the western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee regions because of the massive destruction that it unleashed. The type of destruction that it takes years to recover from. Drew and I, your co-hosts for Invisible Tears, and my daughter, along with our family down here, got hit by Helene in western North Carolina, Black Mountain specifically. Jane, our host for Invisible Tears, was in New Hampshire. It's taken almost 3 weeks for infrastructure to come back enough for us to be able to record with Jane for this podcast. This recording is raw, it's unedited, and uncut. It is our real first-hand account of what we've gone through, and are still going through. It's long, 6 parts. We appreciate your support and listening to Invisible Tears.
Welcome to Invisible Tears. I'm Jane, host of Invisible Tears. Today, I am extremely grateful and honored to be sitting here and actually talking to my co-host, Amanda and Drew. Today is, what is the date today? September.
October 14th.
October.
October 14th.
So today is October 14th. Hurricane Helene just hit about 2.5 weeks ago. And back in September, Drew and Amanda just relocated down to North Carolina, Black Mountain, North Carolina, to be specific, with Drew's family. And that was hard on me. Never mind what we're going to be talking about. That was very difficult for me. I'm in New Hampshire, by the way. This is probably going to be the most intense, emotional, powerful episode or episodes that we will be doing on Invisible Tears. So with that, I am extremely grateful to be talking again with Amanda and Drew. This is going to be raw. This is going to be unedited. And this is going to be, we are going to be talking from our hearts like I don't think I've ever done before. So why don't we start with Amanda or Drew talking about what happened?
And yeah, I can't tell you how thankful I am to be sitting here. It had already started, sorry.
It's okay. I'm expecting a lot of tears.
So am I.
From you guys, from me.
I'm prepared with tissues.
So bear with us. So bear with us. This is going to be extremely hard and emotional for us to talk about.
Yes, it is. But yeah, super thankful to be back on and podcasting.
Yeah, so as some of you may have remember listening to, and Amanda and I had kind of talked about, our lives a little bit. The pandemic definitely took our businesses that we had opened back in 2019, and we finally had hit that sort of rock bottom in New Hampshire. Had to put our house on the market so we could sell it to, start over, get all of our debt paid off, and just have that clean slate. And the goal was to move down here to the Black Mountain area for that fresh start. All my family had lived down here, throughout the years, relocated down here. We had come down to visit many times and just fell in love with the area.
Yeah, I've been down there several times, and it's an absolutely gorgeous area down there.
Mhm.
Yep, the mountains, the locations, the people, the atmosphere, the weather. These were all positive things that we were moving to. You
Mhm.
know, I could not wait to get out of the New England weathers or New England winters in particular. So we made the choice to move our lives down here.
Mhm.
We went to fucking town for about 2 months getting our house ready for the market. Um, and through that too, there was a lot of timing to try to get Aubriana and Amanda down here so Aubriana could start the school year
Mhm.
before it started. So Amanda and Aubriana flew out on August 19th,
18th.
August 18th to get down here.
Yep.
Mhm.
So the two of them were living down here while Aubriana got into school.
Mhm.
Um, and I finished up getting our house ready for the market. And then
Mhm.
on September 13th was when I was ready uh, to head down here. So I drove down that day with my dog and the last little bit of our belongings that we did have.
Yep.
Luckily, we had, my mom had came up and we loaded up a U-Haul, so she helped drive it down while I finished up stuff. So, and with that being said, almost all of our belongings we had to put into storage while we waited for our house in New Hampshire to sell, so then we could buy something down here.
Mhm.
So got down here on September 13th.
Yep.
And then the storms, I'm going to say plural, storms,
Yeah.
started on September 24th.
Mhm. Yep.
So that's another thing that we do want to talk about too, because it took us weeks to be able to get back online just to read the news and read what was happening and what the final, rainfall amount was. It took us almost 2 weeks just to figure out how much rain we actually got,
Yeah.
from Helene and then also the storm just prior to it. So that's one thing that it took a little while to actually see that message get out there
Mhm.
was people need to understand that we were watching the radar very closely right up until we lost all cell service and power. And that happened at midnight on September 26th.
Yep.
Right. Just after midnight, it cut off. We lost all cell service, power, water, everything.
Yep. And the
And so when we were watching the radar, there had been a big storm that hit our area for 2 days prior, and it was dropping a lot of rain. And Amanda will be able to speak a little bit more on that as to why it really led to just a massive amount of water and the flooding that happened.
yeah. Yeah.
And then,
So
Destruction,
yeah.
massive destruction is what it
So
caused.
so much. And so like that storm that Drew was talking about, I mean, literally, I want to say for at least 36 hours, we were getting periodic torrential downpours. And this massive storm that we were getting, it wasn't just hitting us. I mean, it was hitting our entire area. It was hitting parts of Tennessee. I've heard people comment and reach out to me saying that Kentucky and Virginia were really impacted with this storm too. But personally, I've told a story out on TikTok. So I know that I'm like, this is a personal firsthand account. Wednesday, the 25th, before the hurricane even hit us, I was working south of Asheville, and I do deliveries and stuff like that on the side through Instacart, and that is what I was doing. And my last delivery was right outside of Candler. And the last delivery that I took, because the torrential downpours were getting so bad, the woman's driveway was starting to wash away. And I was starting to get really nervous. And I was like, this is just, and this is this the hurricane? I kept on getting confused. I was like, is this the hurricane? Did it speed up? Like, what is occurring right now? And then the route that I had to take home was I-40. So you'll hear a lot of talk about I-40 if you're not familiar with the area. I-40, east west. It runs the complete span of, North Carolina, usually right into Tennessee. However, that's gone now. Coming home on I-40 East Wednesday at 4:30, I've never had to drive on an interstate with my hazards on, and I've never encountered 3 feet of water on one of the bridges and overpasses. I just floored it and prayed. I was shaking. I was like, this is so bad already. Like the magnitude was turning, like I was so confused. And then finally I got home and I started telling everyone about it. And then my daughter had a makeup game north of Asheville, because she helps out the football team with the sports medicine. They tried to make up one of the football games, and the bus had to go 30 miles an hour coming home that evening because, again, so much rain, so much torrential downpour. So this area was already really saturated with this storm beforehand. Now, don't get me wrong, we aren't stupid. We knew a hurricane was coming, so we did try and prepare some, but we weren't prepared for the magnitude of it stalling at all. No one was. I've even been told by people, preppers who have prepped for this disaster or EMPs or anything like that. Preppers weren't even prepared for what actually ended up occurring and what happened to us. It was horrifying.
Yeah, because it was around 10 o'clock Wednesday night. Amanda and I were out on the porch and we're like, wait, so when is the hurricane going to hit? Because it was just nonstop rain. It was just one storm into the other. And it wasn't until the wind started to pick up around 10 o'clock at night where we're like, okay, wait, is this the front coming in? So there was absolutely no break between the two storms. It was just constant rain, and then the wind came in. We lost everything about midnight. And then it got really bad around 3 o'clock in the morning.
So you guys lost everything. So you guys lost electricity,
Yes.
cell phone service, and water.
Internet,
Yes.
water, it lost absolutely any utility, every utility that you can think of, we lost it.
And that was Wednesday night.
That was Thursday.
Thursday.
Night. Yep.
Thursday
night.
going into Friday. So it's like, yeah,
Yep.
And
Friday.
that's when Helene came in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was like Friday morning at 12 o'clock in the morning was when we lost everything.
Yep.
And then 3 o'clock is when it was really bad. Freight trains going by our home. Now, Jane, you know our location. We're up on a hill.
Way up on a hill.
Yep. Overlooking the valley.
2,600 feet, isn't it?
Yeah. Elevation.
Yep.
And I counted, there was at least 3 times throughout the night where we were hearing the wind gusts and just lying in bed, and we were just bracing because we weren't sure if the trailer was going to roll forward or backwards, because you could just feel it rattling and shaking, and you could just feel the foundation moving. And that was definitely scary, just lying in bed going, okay, am I going to fall forward into this wall, or am I going to fall backwards into this wall? It was definitely a little nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely say.
Did you guys hear trees falling around you and stuff?
No, the wind and the rain was so bad you could not hear anything. There was 2 trees that fell that just missed the back of the trailer. We didn't hear that at all.
Yeah.
The one thing that we could hear was the roof of the porch was getting ripped up throughout the night. Piece by piece, it was just kind of rolling up, and then it was just banging on the porch. So we heard that a lot, just a constant banging. We knew it was the roof, but we also knew it was there. Even when trying to look outside in the middle of the night, you couldn't really see anything. I could see the faint distance of the trailer, a little bit down the hill from us. And I'm like, okay, that thing's still standing.
Yeah. So to describe, you guys were in a mobile home.
Yep. Mobile
Yes.
home.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's important for people to understand.
Yep. So we're staying with my parents in their mobile home while we waited to be able to get our own place down here.
Yeah.
So, and luckily they put in hurricane straps on these trailers a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
I honestly think if they did not have those installed, we would have definitely rolled down the hill.
Possibly every single home that was actually on the incline in our park could have been gone. There was a part where I believe it was probably around 4 or 5 o'clock. I think your mom said, Drew, where the water was rushing so bad underneath our trailer. I mean, of course, she was thinking she's has some stuff stored underneath there. Of course, she was thinking about it, but she was more so thinking about the structure of our trailer. We had a rushing river under our trailer. If we didn't have those hurricane straps, I don't know if we'd be here. That's a
Thank God you did.
yes.
And unfortunately, there was one family in a trailer park that wasn't as fortunate. Their trailer did get taken out by a landslide.
In our
The
park.
hill
Yep.
right to the other side of us gave way in the middle of the night. Um, we were able to get some information on them. They heard the rushing and kind of started to hear the hill giving way behind them. So they were able to get out just in time.
Yep.
Um, they weren't able to find one of their dogs. Luckily, it had gotten out, so a neighbor actually cared for it for quite a few days. Because this family just they were able to leave in the middle of the night, but for the longest time, we didn't know where they went. It took I think it was probably 4 or 5 days later that there was finally word that they were safe.
We're safe.
They had just gotten out of town.
Yep.
But that was one of those holy shit moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Reality.
then, yep. And then we ventured into town and got into Swananoa. That was hit unbelievably fucking
Now,
hard.
what day was this?
We first ventured out on a Saturday because we didn't know the circumstances. We didn't know what was going on. All we knew that was that we didn't have power, we didn't have cell service, we didn't have anything. So it was okay. Our first thought was let's go try to check on our storage unit. We had brought all our belongings down and stored it in a storage unit in Swananoa. And we're like, let's go take a look at it. And then we saw the destruction trying to get there. We actually had to take a couple of detours because old 70, which is the main route to get there, had a river that was 20 to 40 feet above normal level. And it unfortunately just took out everything in its path.
Yeah.
Homes, businesses. I mean, it looks like a goddamn war zone down there. There's just mud and debris everywhere. 18 wheelers, you're seeing them in the middle of the woods. You don't even know how the fuck they got there. Over train tracks and everything, still sitting jackknifed in the middle of trees. Cars that are just destroyed and just people's names and phone numbers spray painted on it so they know who to contact to try to do the recovery for it. Campgrounds, the KOA that was right along the river.
Completely taken out.
Yep, just washed away. It's tough to sit here and bitch and moan that we did lose so many of our belongings when you do see that destruction and you do hear about the death toll and how many lives were lost and what people went through. So we understand that, and it's tough to deal with at this moment and just see that destruction.
Yeah.
I haven't even been able to muster myself and don't even want to for a little while, let them clean up the recovery, but the Chimney Rock area.
Yeah.
Wiped out.
Yeah. And it's one of those,
and
like,
that
we
was
know.
beautiful there. That was a big tourist attraction there. Tammy, your mother, Drew, Tammy, she has brought me there several times, me and Dennis. Dennis loved it there. It was a beautiful community. Small. I think there was only like 126 residents or something like that. That place is wiped right off the face of the map.
Yep.
It's so sad. So much history there.
Oh my God. Yeah. The river there changed trajectory so much that it took out, I think I saw a post of something of one of the workers that's there because they're already starting to rebuild. Reserves are out there helping them rebuild too. It changed the trajectory like 20 feet or something like that. It just, and unfortunately everything from that town ended up flooding down into Lake Lure.
Yeah.
So,
And the debris in Lake Lure, insane. I've seen several pictures. I've seen several flyovers. That is just insane. Like everything. And they literally said Chimney Rock is literally in Lake Lure.
in Lake Lure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like literally.
Yeah. Yeah. They so Drew was talking about Saturday, us finally trying to attempt to make our way in. Now, mind you, also, by this time, we still don't have communications. Cell phone service is completely down. Nobody has gotten any sort of Starlinks or anything like that in. All we're doing is we're seeing this and we're just trying to get to, our storage unit. We see that it's still there, but we definitely have, losses, but material. And that's beside the point. The next day, my daughter went to a meeting of any of the known. So like I said, she helps with the sports medicine team at Charles D. Owen High. She's very involved already in this community. Very. She's developed some really solid relationships. But the next Sunday, she went to a makeshift meeting with the coach and the members that they could find of the football team. She went there to figure out who was alive and who possibly wasn't. Thank goodness every person in her high school, every student and every teacher has been accounted for.
Thank God.
Thank God. It's a miracle. I don't know how that happened.
I don't either.
A few people on the football team, she did find out, completely lost their homes and had, sort of like evacuated and gotten out and gotten to family. And these were her friends, right? These are people that she cares about and her friends. But as she's very adamant about going to this meeting, and I'm understanding the reason why, I'm like, my God, this girl's already been through a lot. That's not something you want to have to go through, Yeah.
Well, on our end,
Yes.
I'm going to try and do this without getting too emotional.
Yeah.
So the hurricane hit on Thursday.
Yep.
Friday, I'm calling you guys, and I'm calling. I am literally calling every single phone. You, Drew's, Tammy's, Mike's, Drew's sister Paige, Drew's brother Marcus, Desiree, Marcus's girlfriend. Now you guys are all in Black Mountain, all in the same area, within walking distance of each other.
Yeah.
So I am calling every single phone number I have in my phone to get a hold of you guys, and I cannot get a hold of you guys. And I'm watching the news, and they are announcing what they could see of the destruction of Asheville, Black Mountain, Shenandoah, and Chimney Rock. And that they were finding bodies. And I was like, I can't get a hold of them. And me and Jessica were like, oh my God, I can't get a hold of them. And I knew you guys were on a mountain. And then I started hearing about the mudslides. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to figure out how they can do a welfare check. But nobody can get in and out of Black Mountain.
Yeah.
And then I see Route 40. And so I call Drew's cousin, Mandy, because Mandy is very involved with the family. She's very close with you guys. And I'm like, Mandy, I can't get a hold of them. And she's like, I can't either. And I was already feeling the anxiety. But Mandy's a pretty strong person. And I heard the worry in her. And as soon as I heard the worry in her, I was like, oh my God, this is not good. This is not good. She's like, I'm watching the news too. She's like, I don't know. And also, Mandy's wife's Beth, her mom is down there too with you, right, very close to you guys. I think she's in Asheville or something like that. She's very close in that area. Yeah. And so Beth was getting very worried that she couldn't get a hold of her mom. So it was it was hard. um, we decided, well, Jessica kind of decided for me that we needed to go camping. We needed to occupy my mind because I was in pretty bad shape on Friday. I was in really bad shape on Friday. Saturday, of course, I'm still blowing up your phones, calling and trying to message and everything. And um it was like Saturday morning is when we really saw on the news that the communications were down, that cell phone service was down, and that um you guys just didn't have power and no cell service. So I was thinking, okay, there's no cell service. I'm gonna think positive. They're okay. Um, so we went camping Saturday, and it was I just could not even function. Um, I think that's when I realized how much I really loved you guys and how much you guys are so important in my life. And you guys were on my mind constantly. Every second of Saturday, you guys were on my mind. And then Sunday we packed up and we came home, and I got the most beautiful message I ever got my whole entire life on my phone. And it was from Amanda. And I'm going to read it. Because I had to read it like 20 times to make sure that it was her. I was like, so the message I got was, hold on. Hey, we are okay, but the community is devastated. And this was 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So that was 3 days,
Yeah.
3 freaking days after.
Mm-hmm.
It said, hey, we are okay, but the community is devastated. Cell service just came back slightly for us. I'll communicate more when I can. No electricity, no internet. Love you. So I had started on, I believe it was Friday, I had started doing updates on Invisible Tears page, that we still couldn't get a hold of you guys and everything. Well, I also was thinking about Amanda's mom. Um, and I had zero information or zero contact info for Amanda's mom. And her mom is in Keene, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And we also didn't have zero information on Marcus's girlfriend's Desiree's sister, which is up in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, oh my gosh, me and Mandy were like in constant contact, and we were like, we have no info on this one, we have no info on that one. And so I started posting on Facebook, updates on Friday and Saturday, no contact, da 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 da. I was seeing what was happening, and all of a sudden, Amanda's mom came on the Invisible Tears page,
Mm-hmm.
and I immediately started private messaging with her. Hold
Thank
on a
you.
minute. And she, I was so glad I was able to, excuse me, I'm sorry, contact her. So we were going back and forth, and I was literally updating her with everything, like as soon as I heard from you, because I knew when I heard from you, you guys had limited service. So you really weren't sure, you know, I didn't know how many people you could really contact.
Right.
I know Paige had contacted Mandy because I had immediately, as soon as I read that message, I immediately called Mandy. I was like, we heard from them. They're safe. They're safe. And it's like, but then, so we were really, really, that was like number one. We were so happy that you guys were safe. But the next thing was you guys informed us that you were running low on supplies.
Yep.
And
Yeah. A bit.
I
So,
know,
sorry, Jane. I'm just
yeah,
going to preface that a little bit. So we had said that we had made it out on, Saturday just to sort of check things and see what was closed or whatever. So, like you said, Jane, you were seeing on the news about I-40.
yeah,
There was no way for any of us to get out. The roads were taken out.
yeah.
And that means that there was no way for supplies to get into us. We had no gas here. So even though we were lucky enough that we had possible roads to possibly get to supplies, there was no way for help to come into us for a solid, how many days was it, babe? Was it 5-6 days at
I think it
least?
was about 5 or 6 days before they were able to clear enough of 40 from the east to be able to get supplies from the Charlotte area. One truck lane. Now it's a 4-lane highway, and it just got taken out by a mudslide, and there was one small lane that the trucks would be able to get up. And as it is, it's a bitch of a hill for the trucks to get up on a good day.
Yep.
It's a switchback hill straight up. Most of the trucks on a bright sunny day get to the top of the mountain at about 25 miles an hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was in there going, how the hell are the big oil tankers and stuff going to try to get up through there with all this debris and stuff on the road?
And then you guys didn't have electricity. So they didn't even have a way to pump the gas.
Yes.
So that was another issue.
And it was cash only transaction for probably the first week. It took, I think it was maybe day 6 or 7 before a few. Well, I think one gas station was able to accept cards. Everything else was cash only, limiting the amount of gas that you could buy. We just really didn't know. And as far as the self-service coming back on Sunday, it was one bar, and you would have to hit the resend button about 20 times just to get one message out. You couldn't make any calls. You couldn't get any news apps to update. So even though there was slight service, we still had no idea what was going on. We didn't know the destruction. We didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't even know if there was another storm coming in, because we couldn't even update our weather app. So we weren't even sure when the hell's more rain going to be coming.
And in order to get that one periodic bar, we had to drive up here to where I'm sitting right now. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Desi, for the use of your living room. We had to drive up because they live in the part at the top, right? So we had to drive up to the top where it was like where mountains weren't. And apparently we must have been pinging off of some sort of tower that was way outside of this area. So that's how we finally got something out.
But it would be spotty, and it would come and go. It would go back into SOS mode for 6 hours, and you'd periodically have to drive back up the hill to see if there's any messages or try to get messages out. So that's how the first couple of days was kind of spent, was just trying to communicate with people, letting them know that we're okay. And unfortunately, with power going out and the weather being actually pretty warm after the storm rolled through, everybody lost everything in their refrigerator and freezers by day 3.
Yeah.
So we had stocked up. We had gone out shopping on Thursday because we're like, okay, we don't know how the rainstorms are down here. We don't know what the storms are like, but let's just treat it like a nor'easter. We're gonna get snowed in for a couple of days, and we'll lose power, but we'll hunker down. We'll be good. Yeah, we weren't quite expecting 31.5 inches of rain over a 36-hour period. That was what Black Mountain's final rain total was.
Yeah, they said it was 4 months of rain in the matter of what was it, 24 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
insane.